Hello, investors, and welcome to yet another 18 Minutes with 180 Markets. Well, friends, you all know by now, if there is one key thematic at 180 Markets, is that we invest where there is a strong structural supply demand story. That's right. If nothing else, not only in commodities, but in any business, you want to be where there is a lot of demand and very little supply. And that's why I'm so excited today to be joined by Dean Delargy of Australian Critical Minerals, because they have a huge landholding in these critical minerals for the next 10 to 20 years. And as we know, there is not a lot of supply coming on board. And with that, Dean, welcome.
Thank you, Greg.
Hey, Dean, everybody's got a story and people back people. In just a couple minutes, can you just talk a little bit about yourself?
I'm a geologist by profession. I've been banging on rocks around the world for over 30 years. Initially spent about 10 years in Australia working for some of the mid-tier companies, including Ashton, which became Rio. Then I moved to South America for 20 years, got involved in porphyry coppers and epithermals, worked right throughout the Americas, and about 8 years ago started coming back into Australia and developing the current projects that we've got in Australian Critical Minerals.
Great. Hey, in that background, as you said, you spent a lot of time in South America where they have some huge projects.
Mm.
Were there any key learnings that you could think of that really translated and really formed your view on how you approach commodities?
What I did learn is that you really do have to go over the next hill. Time and time again, if you need the energy and the passion to just drive yourself and your team a little bit further to find that discovery. And that's the one thing I learned amongst South American geologists and even South American people in general, that they will go that extra mile. And that was a great experience and a great learning curve. And I've been able to bring that back, that passion, into Australian Critical Minerals, where we've got we've got a huge land holdings, and we need to be able to deliver an exploration strategy successfully. And to do that, we need to adopt that level of passion.
Yeah, definitely. And when you have such a big landholding, as you said, there are a lot of, so-called mountains to climb, if you will, or mountains to go over. I believe, speaking of that, there are about 1,800 square kilometers. Is that right? Can you just talk about that?
Yes, we've got this huge land holding in spread over a number of commodities, rare earths, lithium, and kaolin, and iron ore, and gold. We've got our focus at this stage is in the critical mineral space, which is lithium and rare earths. We have our Pilbara projects, where we have about 237 square kilometers at our Coletha project, about 90 square kilometers at our Shore project in the Pilbara. These the Coletha projects is our number one lithium target, where we have a width of these pegmatite swarms of about 30 kilometers, 10 kilometers of which is on our granted tenure, and the other 20-kilometer width is on our pending applications of tenements. Up in Shore, we've got a number of targets up there, including some unconformity-related mineralization, potentially rare earths. We've got iron ore up there as well. And then down in the Midwest of Western Australia, we have our rare earths property. We've got in 51% joint venture with Coolah Gold, where we have about 140 square kilometers in just out of Southern Cross, and that's been drilled by Coolah Gold. We have a great rare earth anomaly there. It's just been shallow auger drilled. Those samples are only about 1.5 meters deep. So we're going to go in there probably in September or late August and drill that.
Right. So speaking of lithium, which is obviously one of the huge commodities in demand, your Culetha project, can you just talk to us in a little bit more detail about it? And also, what would be the goal over the next 12 months out of there?
At Culetha, we have people on the ground right now commencing the mapping and sampling program across these pegmatites. They've already come back with some great observations. So we're very happy to be continuing on this journey. As I said, it's a big area. It's going to take several months to get across the whole lot of this tenure at Culetha. So these pegmatites are part of what we see as a regional geological event, and we're in good shape regionally. We're placed south of Pilgangoora and Wodgina, and closer to us, we've got a number of juniors reporting good results in lithium in their pegmatites around our tenure, and this geology flows into ours, and so we've got spodumene through our pegmatites, and so we're expecting some big news going forward from Culetha.
Right. And speaking of spodumene, can you just tell the investors out there why is it so important that you're seeing that already?
Yeah, spodumene's it's a lithium-bearing pyroxene mineral. It's the main lithium-bearing pyroxene mineral, of which there are several, but this is the main one that occurs in the Pilbara. Pilgangoora has some fantastic grades of lithium, as you know, and that's mainly in spodumene, and so it is very significant that we have spodumene identified on our tenement.
Right, and that gives you obviously a lot of encouragement going forward too, I suppose.
Absolutely, yeah. That's it is incredibly encouraging. We look, to be honest, we don't expect that we're going to have 30 kilometers of pure spodumene. Within that 30 kilometers, there are going to be areas that are spodumene rich, and there are going to be areas of barren. So by adopting a systematic exploration approach, we will identify the spodumene rich areas, and then we'll develop drill targets from that.
Right. And Dean, you're not alone out there. There are some major players that are already in the location. Can you just talk to us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Pilgangoora is the main one, the world's largest hard rock lithium deposit. It's or mine site. It's fantastic, and we're also south east of Wodgina. Again, a couple hundred milliton, about 1.14% lithium. We have these two great deposits so close to us that we see that our project has the potential to deliver that size of deposit. And when that happens, we will be a major player. And if we get to, even before we get to that stage, the news will be released, of course, and I suspect that will be a company of interest to the
already maybe. That's right, for sure. So you're in the right location in Australia, great rule of law, and you happen to have a huge land holding. It certainly spells like there is all kinds of potential there for investors.
Yeah, we've got many items that will deliver positive news flow coming from all these projects. So we're going to have, how that translates to an investor is it gives our investors and gives our current investors the optimism to stay the course, and it gives many potential entry points for incoming investors to come into the company as we deliver news flow, and they can join the story.
Absolutely. And there's so many ways to win. We've spoken about lithium, maybe turning it now towards rare earth and to Ranking Dome. Can you just talk to us a little bit about that project?
Rankin Dome, I see as potentially a bit of a sleeping giant. It's a great project. With Cooler Gold did a fantastic auger drilling program at Rankin Dome, achieved some great results. Over 1,000 ppm total rare earth. The interesting thing about that is that because these are shallow soil samples, it's in agricultural terrain, and we know that rare earths are often preferentially absorbed by plant material. So to have this an anomaly of this strength in soils in agricultural terrain is really quite significant. So we're looking at drilling this and potentially achieving a good result. We still don't really know whether it's going to end up being a clay hosted deposit or a hard rock hosted deposit. We'll have to drill that and see. The other interesting point about the Rankin Dome project is that the area that's been drilled really only represents about 15% of the total tenure area. There is similar geology right through this tenure package. So this again has large-scale potential as we not only drill what has already been identified in soils, but to expand our exploration focus through that tenement package to identify other opportunities as well.
Right. And speaking of other opportunities here, what do the next 12 months look like out of the project?
Cooler Gold will be great news flow. We've got the RC drilling program coming up very soon. It's expected to commence either late August or early September.
Oh, so imminently. Yeah.
Yes, imminently. Got drill contractors ready to go. Haven't signed the contracts yet. We're just dealing with a number of cost issues there. Then so that'll be Cooler Gold straight off the bat. We've got the team up in Coletha mapping and sampling. Those initial results will be expected in about 6 weeks or 7 weeks time from that mapping and sampling program. After those results come back, the team will be going back in, or before those results come in, they'll be back up there working. And then we'll be expecting the drill results coming out of Rankin Dome.
Got it. Okay. And Rankin Dome there's already been quite a bit of historical work there. I believe that you had 74% of samples above 115 ppm tree. Can you just, again, in layman's terms, for the average person, discuss what does that mean?
Yeah, no, the in layman terms, it's a value that is many times above the average crustal abundance of these elements. It generally it will potentially translate into a great drill result. It would be unusual, and in fact, I don't know how it could occur that you could have such a high anomaly and not have any reason to support that. You know, right. It doesn't come out of fresh air. It's either in the clays below it or it's in the bedrock below it.
Well, okay, so that's really very, very interesting of your conviction level.
If it looks like if it looks like a great project and it smells like a great project, it probably really is a great project.
Got it. Now, switching it up a little bit to another project where it's maybe a little bit less about the hole in the ground and more about the infrastructure. Tell us about iron ore.
Iron ore has a great potential. We've got this tenure at Shaw and Coletha that covers what they call channel iron deposits. These deposits are typically 51 to sort of 59% iron in grade. And we've potentially got about 300 million tonne of this material. We've only got a number of we've got about a dozen initial rock samples of this material. They grade between the 51 and the 59% iron level. Our initial mapping shows that we've got about 25 kilometres of strike length of these channel iron deposits. So they're near surface. Through this region, they average about 50 metres in depth. They've got 25 kilometres of these channel iron deposits are often about 100 metres wide. So that's how we come up with this approximately about 300 million ton potential. Once we've done that, we've got all the majors. We've got around us. We've got FMG. We've got BHP, and we've got Roy Hill surrounding us in our tenure. And there's many world-class ore deposits in operation right next door to us. So we see these partners as we see these people as potential partners going forward. If we channel iron deposit material of this sort of grade usually sells, if you just do an offtake agreement with a company,
Right.
you usually sell for a couple of dollars a ton. So if we've got 300 million ton of this material, that's that's an easy $600 million,
We'll take it.
which is a fantastic outcome for a junior which floated with an $8.5 million market cap.
Right. Hey, Dean, we have to keep it short, but I do have a question. We recently IPO'd the business, I believe, a few months ago now. Any big learnings that you've taken away in your short tenure so far as an ASX MD?
Well, no, we're only 4 weeks old.
There you are.
The learnings are many. There is, and I was quite prepared to do this. There is a lot to do.
Yeah.
Having this much ground, we need to get some good teams in place. We have strong work programs planned, and our main task at the moment is getting the right people in place that, as I started the conversation with, is that have the passion and the strength to get over that next hill, and cover the ground necessary to deliver the good news to the market.
Right. You need the people and you need the projects. Dean, do you have any closing remarks for the audience?
Yeah, look, Australian Critical Minerals presents a great opportunity for investors current and investors that are coming in. Our projects are so large that we're able to give the market both security of tenure of news flow, and we're in great geological settings. So we're in quality. We've got quality projects and large tenure. This will give our investors a lot of security as they come in, and this amount of ground will create long-term news flow. This news flow will deliver a number of potential exit strategies for our earlier investors and entry points for incoming investors, so they can all enjoy the ride.
Right. Dean, definitely stay in touch as your journey continues on. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Greg. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Bye-bye.